Yeah, there he is. Doing the Hodge twins homage.
Ugh!
All right, Puma. Aaron Rodgers today said he's going on a 4-day retreat in isolation where he's going to go sit in a room in the dark with no contact from the outside world. They'll feed him and then he'll go use the bathroom and he'll just sit for 4 hours in darkness. Now, when he comes out of that, he said he'll make a decision on whether or not he'll play next year. This is all true. Everything I've said so far is true. So, with that being said, Puma, there are a couple different options for him when he comes out from his little, reflection on life. It seems like he'll either go back to the Green Bay Packers, he'll either retire, or it seems like the Jets and the Las Vegas Raiders are in the running for acquiring his services for next year. So, if you had to guess right now, where do you think he ends up?
Oh, when he comes out of the Hanoi Hilton, because that's what it sounds like. He's coming out of like a North Vietnamese prison camp, like he was shot down over North Vietnam during the Vietnam War. Oh, I'm going to be in 4 years, 4 days of isolation and darkness. There's a bathroom in there, but like I'm going to wear a diaper because I don't want to leave stop, just stop. But honestly, I've been on here the last couple of weeks. I think it's going to be the Jets. Woody Johnson's made it perfectly clear that he is more than willing to pay the premium it's going to require to move to move on from Zach Wilson and get Aaron Rodgers in the building. Whether or not Aaron Rodgers wants to go down the same path as Brett Favre did, that's open to interpretation. But I have the Jets being the leaders in the clubhouse here. I'm not completely dismissing the Raiders. It's just, when it comes down to the financial aspect of things and the brass tacks, like, yeah, you get to go play with your boy Devontae Adams, but the fact of the matter is the offensive line for the Raiders is, no offense, it's god awful, and they're going to have to build in the draft. And quite frankly, like, do they really want to hitch their caboose to Aaron Rodgers and potentially the back nine of his career with a big contract, or would it be smarter to go after the rookie contract in like a CJ Stroud or a Bryce Young or a Will Levis, depending on how the dominoes fall in the quarterback rankings here. Hell, like, do they want to take a dart throw on Anthony Richardson, AR-15 out of Florida? Like, when it comes down to the financials, though, Jay, like, I think it might be more wise to start with the rookie contract of the quarterback, because that price tag is always going to go up, instead of pay a premium for what, Jay, like 2 years, 3 tops for Aaron Rodgers. And like, is he really gonna gel with like the personality of Josh McDaniels? Like, if Derek Carr, the ultimate team guy, couldn't take getting dressed down in front of everybody in the locker room, or when it came down to breaking down plays on what happened the week before, like, is passive aggressive Aaron Rodgers really going to take it? Like, I think it's going to be is Jets, retirement, then Packers. Like, that's how I rank it.
Well, I see it as Packers, Jets, Raiders, and then retirement. And the reason why I say retirement is last, because Aaron Rodgers, we can all agree, is a selfish human being, correct? Do you think he wants to retire the same year Tom Brady did and then be the second fiddle to 5 years from now going to Hall of Fame after Tom Brady? Like, I feel like he would want to have his own day, his own year to go into the Hall of Fame. So I think the kind of person he is, I think that that's something that wouldn't jive with him. Now, with the Raiders, I have some serious concerns about the fact that Aaron Rodgers is a West Coast guy. Josh McDaniel runs a hybrid of the New England system with some West Coast elements, but it's mostly its own offense that Tom Brady and Josh McDaniels kind of perfected over 20 years. So I think there'd be a serious issue with him going into Las Vegas, learning a brand new playbook, something that is foreign to him for something that he's done for 15, 16 years now. So the Raiders one gives me cause to pause. And the Jets option, I really don't think, he would want to follow in, Brett Favre's footsteps again, even though on paper it seems like the best place outside of the Packers is the New York Jets. Nathaniel Hackett is there, his old offensive coordinator. The roster itself of the Jets is stacked beyond belief, and they're a quarterback away from making some real noise. But can Aaron Rodgers stomach the fact that he's following in Brett Favre's footsteps? So I think Aaron Rodgers gets to the point where he's the boy that cries wolf every offseason. And truthfully, if you look at the trends of the last 3-4 years of what he's done, I think he's just going to bite the bullet and go right back to Green Bay. I think they're willing to pay him all the money he wants, the $110 million over the next 2 years. I heard there's some rumbling that wherever he ends up going, there might be some elements of reworking a contract. And he said he might be open to that. But I think right now, if he wants the best of all worlds, go back to Green Bay. Unless Green Bay doesn't want you, that's a different story.
I don't think they want the Aaron Rodgers experience anymore because they went young, right? Like they went young at the skill position players, and that was one of the big gripes of Aaron Rodgers was, oh man, like I don't really want to be in a rebuild, and don't really have any chemistry with these young guys, but yet he bitches about not having young talent at the wide receiver position. But that's neither here nor there. I honestly, Jay, I just think the front office and the head coach and quite frankly, like some of the people that I've talked to that have lived in Green Bay are just done with the Aaron Rodgers mind game experience right now with him. And that's not to say like they wouldn't welcome him back with open arms for like a retirement ceremony. I just think like right now they're just done with the passive aggressiveness stuff and the nonsense and all that BS. Like I think they're out. I think honestly the performance of Jordan Love, not only in like the Eagles game when he came in relief, but just what people were saying at training camp was he seemed to have taken that step in grasping the offense and understanding what his progressions are going to be in that offense and really like taking a step forward in his NFL career progression. I think he's turned a lot of heads in training camp, and I think the icing on the cake was him showing up and showing out a little bit in that blowout loss ultimately against the Eagles. But like, I mean, he marched them right down the field, Jay, cold off the bench, no problem. Like,
yeah. Like I mean, I think the Jordan Love era's got to start, and I think I'm leaning towards Aaron Rodgers spending one more year in Green Bay. I think everybody's just gonna try to make it work for one more year. I don't think he's retiring. So I think it will be a little bit of a train wreck if he does go to Las Vegas. Like I think that could be a disaster waiting to happen with the fact that he is not at all comfortable with the offense that Josh McDaniels runs. So I know he might have to swallow his pride and go follow in Brett Favre's footsteps, but if he really isn't Green Bay, I think the New York Jets are going to be his only other option, truthfully. So, all right, brother man. Well, let's plug it up and get out of here, man.
All right. So this episode of the pod and previous episodes of the Pro Football Radio podcast can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever else you get your podcast. On the YouTube page, be sure to subscribe to the page. Be sure to hit the little notification bell. That's when you'll be notified when videos like this are dropped in your feed for your viewing and listening pleasure. Apple Podcasts, be sure to leave 5-star review. Google Podcasts, be sure to leave 5-star review as well too. Social media wise, Facebook, Instagram, Pro Football Radio Podcast, the Twitter machine at PFR Podcast. I'm on Twitter, Brando_Puma, Jay Chima, the captain of the ship on the ones and the twos, is at Jay Chima. DMs are open. Like, subscribe, download, share it with your friends, share it with your family. And can't wait to break down the action post Super Bowl. And hopefully it's Fly Eagles Fly.
Enjoy the Super Bowl, everybody. We'll talk to you next week.
Via con Dios.